Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here tonight. I know that this isn't a standing room only, but I like that about it because I know the people that are here really want to be here and want to be engaged in the process. So I'm just going to jump right in with the questions. But I need to put a disclosure. I posed these questions. I'm a high school teacher, and I posed these questions to my high school students because they're our future. They're the ones who are going to inherit whatever we do and what our decisions are. So I wanted to know, what do they think about some of these things? And it was really kind of interesting because Tim and Dave both have been to my high school and talked to my students, and out of the mouth of babes, some of the things that they said are exactly in alignment with, I know, with some of the people downtown, what they hope to see for the future of downtown. So the first question, what role do you see the downtown playing in Stockton's future growth, and how will your leadership support the downtown? Well, first of all, in terms of my leadership, I live in the downtown area. Obviously, I'm in District 5. I am not too far from here. I'm on Lincoln Street, and my great-great-grandparents from 1880 were at Van Buren at the Crosstown Freeway, and the downtown was very different back then than it is today. I have had, now I'm almost done with my 8th year on the Planning Commission, and I have seen the changes that we have done that haven't been advantageous to downtown. When we did the general plan, downtown wasn't even a part of the general plan. So now with the amendment, we have to have a plan for the downtown area. I look at TIFs, TIFs, tax increment financing, as a way for us to continue the momentum that we're going. We have the Cal Weber project, which has gotten the green light to get started. We need to have more projects. But before all of that can happen, we have to make sure that people feel safe in our downtown. So that's the number one thing for me, is making sure that we have a safe downtown. Because my students said to me, Ms. Fugazi, my parents won't let me go downtown. Straight up. They'll let me go to the mall, they'll drop me off at the mall, let me hang out at the mall all day, but they won't let me come downtown. Even if they want to go to the movies, their parents want to go to the movies with them. What high school student wants their parents going to the movies with them? They don't. They don't. And I try to tell them it's not that bad. I've asked parents, I said, okay, I'll meet your kid downtown. It's not that bad. And they're like, no, they have a view of what downtown looks like. So I'm looking at more bicycle cops. I don't think that the Downtown Stockton Alliance, first of all, should have to pay for them. I think that they're police officers, that should come out of the police budget. The more visibility we have of people that are not in their cars, cops that aren't in their cars, but actually on the bikes, walking around, talking, communicating with people, I think that we will decrease crime tremendously. And the thing we have to look at, if you're familiar with it or not, there's the RAND paper, RAND Court paper. It's called the return of investment. And what happens is when a crime occurs, such as what happened at the downtown movie theater this summer, I was hoping that Mr. Barquette might be here so he could maybe confirm this. During my research, showed that there was a 30% drop in revenue following that shooting. That people didn't want to be downtown. That they were afraid that something might happen to them. So that has a huge cost to us. So if we are able to eliminate as much crime as possible, that makes it profitable for businesses, that increases foot traffic, which then brings me on to a paper, not a paper, but if you know who Bill Maxwell is. Bill Maxwell is a huge proponent for downtown, and during the summer he kind of called me out on Facebook and said, Christina Fugazi, what are your plans for downtown? And I said, oh, I'll get back to you. It's the end of the school year. And people were like, oh, you got to get back. I said, well, it's something I've thought about long and hard for the last 7 years. And so then I ended up writing him a 3-page synopsis of what I see for downtown. And it's about the P's. The first P is people. We need people downtown. When we have more people downtown, we have less crime. There's a direct correlation. Okay, so bringing people into downtown, people who care about downtown, people who will help keep downtown clean and vibrant. The other thing then is public and private partnerships. The city and private entities, we need to work together. If we want to have any type of unity in this community and move forward, we must work together and put aside whatever it is. If we have a common goal, we need to keep that task in mind and move forward on that. And the third P, which I was doing some research on it, is called paint. You all know what paint is, right? So there is this gentleman. He is now the Prime Minister of Albania. His name is Edi Rama, and he was at the time mayor of Tirana. And what he did was he simply incorporated more paint and saw wonderful benefits. So we have this monochromatic looking building here, and it's gray and dull, and he added a splash of paint to it. And he saw, believe it or not, so graffiti went down, littering went down, drug use in that area went down, overall crime went down, and it ended up becoming a place where people wanted to go. Here is how the passageway down there looked, and yes, it is a black and white aerial photo, so it looks even worse. But look at when they added green spaces to it, when they added some different splashes, like I said, of that color, traffic going both ways, which is something else I'll talk about, and it really changed the footprint of that. And then I think of things like our sloughs and different things, our waterways that are not becoming at all. My students have done cleanups, but here's one of the waterways where they turned it into a park. So the Mormon Slough, instead of it just being a dumping ground for trash, but something that's beautiful that we can be proud of. I know I kind of went off on track on the question, but I just want to show you the breadth and depth that I have taken into really making this an ownership. If we have more ownership on downtown and we feel like we have a responsibility to it, I think we can then continue that forward momentum and make this a place where people want to come here and not go out north. And one of the things I alluded to was El Dorado and Center Street, how they're one-way traffic. It makes it difficult to get around downtown. They should go back to being two-way streets. I also am not a big proponent of the meters, the parking meters. I myself have gotten a ticket, and when I investigated, I found out of that $43, only $7 of it makes it back into the city coffers. $7. Why do I don't even understand what the reason is for keeping that. But if that was something that they thought was necessary, they need to make it a bigger window. They need to make sure you can use a credit card, that it doesn't require coins to go into that, because we cannot encourage downtown shopping if you're worried about the meter. If you have to run out and fill it, people aren't going to be happy about it. So community policing, like I said, I am a big proponent for having more bicycle cops. They actually can navigate through downtown far better than a car can. And they know the streets and the ins and the outs and where people are. Like I said, we have to get out of the car. Downtown housing, supporting infill. Hopefully, in a week or so, we will know Judge Klein's decision, and we will be able to move forward in cutting fees. I absolutely believe that they're astronomical, and they do not encourage any type of building, infill or otherwise. But we need to be able to make something that's reasonable. And that's the other thing I was talking about, is that tax increment financing. And that gives people the ability to pay out over time the cost that they might incur. The other thing is I don't think the city should be profiting off of people who want to open up a business, because guess what? They're going to profit off the backside of it when they spend their tax dollars. I met this man, Alfonso Ocampo, and it's just outside of downtown, so at Union and Sonora. He has a business that he wanted to open, and the city told him that he was responsible for the sidewalk, and he said, sure, I'll do a little walkway to my door and then out front a sidewalk. And they told him, oh no, you have to do the whole block. And what? Do you know how expensive it is to put in a sidewalk? He's like, forget it. I'm not gonna open a business if I'm responsible. That's the city's responsibility to put in sidewalks, not a business owner. So when we look at things, yeah, we can't look at people as a cash cow. And I think that the city during this bankruptcy period has looked at businesses as a cash cow, and which turns them away. Okay. The other thing is about the partnership with the county. I've got a lot of stuff on that. First of all, I think if people really knew the number of individuals that are released daily from the jail, they would be up in arms and would be storming the steps of City Hall. It is ridiculous the number of people that are released on a daily basis. We do not have a functional jail. They've added some beds. It's clearly not enough. But there's other things we have to look at there, because we have people with mental health issues, people with drug abuse issues. They need to be into a different type of program, okay? And so there are things, let me look back at my notes here, that we need to look at. There are different grants. So there is the Substance Abuse Prevention and Treatment Block Grant. So if you have an issue with substance abuse, we're not going to just hold you in the jail, not do any behavior management for you, and then send you back out so you can continue using drugs, selling drugs, or whatever. We need to treat it, okay? With the mental health, when I look at the homeless, some of them are pretty sharp. I've talked to several of them that actually are very intelligent and know what the deal is. They are just down on their luck. There is another group of homeless, though, that have serious mental health issues. And we need to make sure that we serve them as well. And there are grants that we can apply for. Speaking of grants, I think that a grant writer is worth their weight in gold if we have one that is successful and knows what they're doing. Out at the County Office of Education, we have excellent grant writers that bring in millions of dollars so that we can fund our educational programs. Why doesn't the city have a grant writer like that? If we're looking at downtown development, that grant writer should be able to spend, let's say, 20, 30 hours a week looking at, writing, researching, and writing grants for our downtown. And one of the things they can do, they don't need to get $250,000 a year. We're a bankrupt city. Okay, so you can have some merit-based salary with that. So you can have a medium salary, but the more money you bring in, I've worked on commission. Hey, it's nice. It made me work harder. I'm telling you, it does. So you get an incentive, or you get a little kickback of all the grants that you have, and we do that at the county. They write in the grant writer part of their salary into the grant. It's in all of them, because the county takes an indirect from that. And that money part of that goes to pay for that grant writer. So back to the county-city partnership. The other thing I'm concerned about is how we bus in these people from the jail every day. Can't we do closed captioning? Do they have to be bussed in? Do you know what the daily transportation cost is to bring in them every day to be in a court hearing? Why can't we have their public defender out at the jail and do closed captioning and have the judge be on there? I mean, I've seen it done other places. We do telemedicine. Why can't we do telecourt? Okay, so those are my thoughts there. The other thing, when I think of us and how we have such a movement of people in the technology field, and people are saying, oh, well, we're the greater Silicon Valley. I like the term, and I've said this to a couple of people here, Silicorn. The Silicorn Valley, because we have this abundance of agriculture that, had we not had that during this bankruptcy, we would have really been in trouble, because the amount of revenue that we've gained off of agriculture has kept us afloat, so to speak. So I really think that I don't think we should try to be like anybody else. We need to be Stockton. We don't need to be the Bay Area. We don't need to be San Francisco. We're not. We're not. We have a beautiful, potentially beautiful waterfront area. The hyacinth is out of control, and that algae was out of control smelling. It was awful. It was rank. But I'm like, why can't we have kind of our own boardwalk? I even talked about bringing the trolley back. We used to have a trolley downtown. It went right through the Bank of the West. When they were building the Bank of the West, they unearthed the rail. And I said, why didn't you put plexiglass over that? That would have been such a nice history to be able to see that there. You know, when I'm standing in line, I could look down and go, I'm standing maybe where my great-great-grandparents stood back in the 1880s. How cool is that to see that piece of history? But why not a little trolley? Why not I've even thought about, you know, when you do those little sky, you know, where you're up over seeing, I can't find the word for it, but anyhow, yes, like an aerotrip, you know, like when you go up heavenly or whatever. I mean, it would be neat to be able to see that up there. Maybe you're having something to, you know, drink, not alcoholic. I'm saying non-alcoholic. You know, but going over, being able to see over. You know, on my page when they put the aerial view of downtown, which is my area, on my Facebook page, Randy Bain took that picture. I had people saying, how can I get a copy of that picture? I'm like, oh, you got to get in touch with Randy. They're like, it's so beautiful. From up top, Sunset Magazine once called Stockton the city of trees. It's beautiful. You know, you get down at this level and you start to see, my students, one of the things they said was, you need to power wash downtown. You need to power wash it, clean it up. My students participated in Clean Up Stockton. They came out here every day. They would come here. They would come to the front. We would get the gloves, the bucket, the anti-graffiti wipes that Downtown Stockton Alliance provided. They would come over. We'd have the grabbers, all that kind of stuff. My students came down, and we would see that the same place would get hit again and again and again. And they started choosing things that we couldn't get off with the anti-graffiti wipes. People want to leave their mark where they think that, hey, they can get away with it. We can't let them get away with it anymore downtown. We have to say no more. And the way we say no more is by having more people downtown, having more businesses downtown, having people feel safe downtown. I walk downtown, I don't have a problem with it. But there are other people that think downtown is not a safe place to be. And we need to change that. And that's what I'm hoping to do. I'm hoping to be able to put more officers down here that are not in a car, bring back some of that two-way traffic, lower the fees so we can have businesses and infill development. That's what I'm looking for. So I know I only have like 1 or 2 minutes left, but I really wanted to give people an opportunity to ask me a question if you had one, because I know I have a whole lot here and I said a whole lot. But if you had a question that I could answer, I would appreciate it if you asked me. Yes, Ashley.
How do you handle the challenges of people who oppose what you want to do for the city?
It's a great question. Okay, as a teacher, public school teacher, you know, we don't really get a say in who comes in or out of our class. But when they do, we talk about what our goal, what my goal. I share with them what my goal and my vision is for the class, and I ask them to come on board with that. And let's work together so that everybody can be successful. And the other thing I didn't bring up was about customer service. This city is not customer service friendly. Please, thank you, have a nice day with a smile. Come on now. I get my kids to do crazy things for me when I said, oh, Ashley, can you please help me with this? Would you hole punch all these papers for me? I'm telling you. And then when they turn in their work, thank you. Thank you for getting your assignment done. I appreciate that. And they're like, you know, and when they do really well, I tell them, great job. You must have worked really hard. I appreciate that. You know, in business, you want to attract business? My grandmother used to say, you get a lot more bees with honey than you do vinegar. And Stockton pushes out a lot of vinegar. And I'm not a vinegar girl. I like my sweets. I'm all honey. So, yes, Mr. Renshaw.
There was a question regarding infill, and you've been a planning commissioner for a long time.
Yes.
During which time Stockton sprawled and approved 40,000 lots.
I didn't approve it.
No, I know.
Okay.
Stockton did.
I voted no.
So we have 40,000 lots sitting out there of further sprawl. and yet we want to have infill.
Mhm.
How would you reconcile those two issues?
Okay, so first of all, the people that I've spoken to want a mixture of housing. I think that we need to provide housing to people, whatever type of housing that it is that they need, okay? There are people that want to live downtown. We need to pave the way for that, and we need to do, like I said, public and private partnerships. If we have buildings or space available, we need to encourage people to come down. That's why I said a grant writer. We need to be able to have money to do that, because the existing buildings, the infrastructure on them, it's not up to code, it is not safe. There are things that need to be done in order to prepare that site. I would love to do stuff on the north bank of the Deepwater Channel where all those buildings are, but guess what? The EIR on that is going to be crazy because of all of the stuff in the soil, because of the industry that was there. But I think that would be an excellent spot for some beautiful lofts. So we need to go out and we need to make sure that we can make those things happen. And I think we can do that by doing some public and private partnerships. Yes?
I don't think there's any real market, supermarket type of thing in downtown. I don't think a supermarket is really the answer, but I think a pipe place market, yeah. And I don't really think we can be throwing fish around, but we might be able to.
They do under the Crosstown Freeway on Saturday mornings.
If we could have some kind of upscale, consumer-friendly, really nice, organic kind of market.
Whole Foods.
I wonder if that would kind of do some good things for Stockton.
Well, first of all, most people get in their cars to go get their food. I mean, they drive to go get their groceries. And I'm saying most people. Downtown, I would love there to be a market. South Stockton, I would love there to be more markets. Being on the Planning Commission, I have said, what can we do? And I've been told we can't force people to open businesses where they don't want to. We were going to get a Fresh and Easy on Harding Way. I was ecstatic. Fresh and Easy. Oh my gosh. Well, they never came. They were supposed to bring a couple stores here, and they sold themselves, and then I don't know what happened to them, but they came before us, and then they left. So if we could get a market here, I think that would be fantastic. But I also believe in farmers markets. I believe in there's plenty of produce out there that they could be doing. You know, we do have one by the Fox Theater, a farmers market that goes on Fridays. But maybe we have them more regularly. But the thing is, they won't come if the community doesn't support them. So, I mean, that's the bottom line on it. But if there are people here, if there are families here, I would think that a business would say, hey, this is a market that I want to get involved in. Okay, I'm sorry, I went over. Thank you.